So my name's Nicole. I'm a compulsive overeater.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day from the grade sheet. I text them or call them into my sponsor. I don't eat in between meals no matter what, and abstinence is the most important thing in my life today without exception. And I'm very grateful to be abstinent and to be here and to be able to do service. And I think that's like the first time I said I text them, but I'm like, yeah, I do text them to my sponsor now. So I have an almost 5-month-old at home, and I found myself texting my sponsor because I was feeding her or she was sleeping, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't wake this baby. This biggest fear, don't wake the baby. So I text my sponsor, and thank goodness she's okay with that. So I love this time of year. I love step one. So I'm grateful you talk about step one necessarily in your share, because that's all I could think about on the way here. Last weekend, my husband and I went to Vegas, and on Saturday morning, the very first meal that we had there, breakfast, he got me breakfast, and I didn't eat my breakfast until 12. And even though I had been up since I think like 9 o'clock, so that's still pretty late waking up. But anyway, I was getting ready to eat my breakfast at 12, and I opened my bag and I'm like, where's some scale? Where's some scale? And he's like, you didn't grab it off the table at Starbucks last night? And I'm like, you freaking saw my scale on the table at Starbucks and you didn't say anything? That's the first thing that went through my head. But I'm like, I left my scale at Starbucks. So we stopped, we drove to Vegas. So we stopped at Starbucks to get a coffee. And I put protein in my coffee because it was the end of my dinner. And I forgot my scale on the table. And so what was so beautiful about the situation was he goes, you want me to go to the car? There's a scale in my trunk. There's a scale in my trunk. And I'm like, yes, there is a scale in your trunk. Okay, all right. And the scale in your trunk takes AA batteries, not no freaking watch batteries. So he's like, I don't know if the batteries are good because the scale's been in his trunk now for like, I don't know, 5 years or something. And he's like, I don't know if the batteries are any good. So I'm like, okay. So he goes and gets his scale, and I'm thinking, all right, well, I'm just gonna sit here hungry now because he's gonna take forever. And he was back in like 15 minutes, and the batteries worked, and I had my breakfast, even though it was a little cold, but I had my abstinent breakfast, and all was good. So I share that because I am now, I think, 15 years into this, and the thing about step one is, what's so funny about step one is that it's like in the past tense, but it's so not a past tense thing. We may have admitted we were powerless over food, but every single meal, every single day, we are admitting that we are powerless over food. So I say 15 years because I'm like 15 years later, I'm still as powerless over food today as I was the day I came into the door, right? Like I'm still just as powerless. My life isn't unmanageable today, because that was the thing. It was like, okay, I have this problem. Do I have to like not eat? Do I have to not eat? So I'm thinking I gotta go to Target. I'm thinking about all the possible solutions to the fact that I had no scale. But today my life isn't unmanageable. Today, as is part of the promises, I intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle me. So today it's a very different way of life, a way of being than it was when I came through the doors, but I'm still just as powerful. Another thing I want to say about that is, thank God I married who I married. I say that all the time. I'm like, thank God I married, and I still remember, I'm like, I was one of the grade sheeters who got abstinent pretty early in her adulthood, and so I had to go through my whole dating life in abstinence, and I got the gamut of, what the F are you doing at the table when I would pull out my scale, to me telling my now husband, and on our first date, our very first eating date, I forgot my scale. So there you go. That's who Nicole is. Nicole forgets the scale, apparently. We were literally like a block away from the restaurant, and it suddenly dawned on me that I forgot my scale. And I mean, this is our first date, eating out, but there was a Bed Bath & Beyond right down the street. So I'm like, do you mind taking a detour into Bed Bath & Beyond? And he's like, sure. And like, we're going to a fancy restaurant, so he's in his suit, I'm in my pretty dress. And I can wear pretty dresses today because I'm in a normal sized body. And we're walking through Bed Bath & Beyond and looking for the scale. Again, a scale that, you know, thank goodness I knew came with batteries, so I didn't have to buy batteries. If you want to know, it's an OXO scale. They come with batteries. So anyway, you know, thank God I married who I married, because he's very supportive of my program, and he's very supportive of the fact that me taking care of my food has absolutely nothing to do with him. He's like very clear that it's just who I am. Like, my food needs to be in order, and these are the things that I need to do in order for my food to be in order. And it has absolutely nothing to do with him. So it's not that I would rather come to a meeting than spend time with him, or I would rather do service, you know, at the world service level and be in all these meetings than spend time with him or stick him with the kids. It's like, no, this is what she needs to do. And the fact that if we have one piece of fruit left, that fruit is mama's. It's not for that, you know, like that. He seriously. And so we share meals a lot, or we share when we eat out. And he's always like, you go first. You take what you need, and I'll take the rest. And I'm like, you're a really cool partner. So thank you for that. So anyway, that's a shout out to my husband. But anyway, you know, when I came in here, I don't think that I didn't come in here for all of the gifts that have come from abstinence, particularly the clear-headedness, right? So like I said, to me, one of the greatest promises is intuitively knowing how to handle situations that used to baffle me, because I just feel like when I was in the food, everything was a big deal. Everything was a huge problem. I didn't know what was up from down. And I think that I'm a pretty smart person, but none of that mattered when I was in the food, because the self-hate and the guilt and the shame just like overwhelmed me. It overpowered me. And so to not feel any of those things today and have a shot at like a good life, a really, really good life, is just beyond my wildest dreams. Beyond my wildest dreams. I just didn't want to feel like that anymore. And that's what made me come into the room. And when I came in, I thought that I was coming in to just get 90 days because I had no experience with 12-step programs. So I heard people say 90 days, 90 days. So I was like, okay, you know, I'll just do this for 90 days. And somewhere along the 90 days, I really, after hearing the 12 steps over and over again and the promises, and after reading how it works in the big book over and over again, just really understood that this wasn't a 90-day problem, right? This was a lifetime problem. Like, I was born like this, and I will die like this, whether or not I choose to weigh and measure my food. So it's kind of like, it's up to you, Nicole. This is your condition, right? Do you want to do something about it, or do you want to live in your disease? And at that point, and thank God for the next few years, I've chosen to do something about it. And one of the things about the first step that I like a lot is that I learned is that it says that we're powerless over food, but we're not hopeless about it anymore. That in this room, there's so much hope. There's so much hope that if I just stay, if there is a problem that I just can't seem to get to the other side of, if I just stay, a solution will appear, because I am not the first gray sheeter, nor will I be the last to have gone through whatever it is I'm going through. And people go through tremendous things in here. I'm like amazed. one of the things I'm like, I was like, I used to always ask in the Ask It basket, how do you get married and not eat the carb at your own wedding? And I'm like, and then at my own wedding, I got married and I fed the carb to my husband and was like, and he knew not to give it to me. And we did a toast, and his toast was something that we don't drink, and my toast was seltzer water. And no one looked at us like we were crazy. It was just like, oh, okay, fine. Or how are you pregnant and give birth? And I'm like, how was I in labor and gave birth abstinently? And I was in close contact with my sponsor, So I packed my food. I packed a crap ton of food to take to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 4 days. Oh. I think I got induced on a Thursday and gave birth on a Sunday morning. And if just to say, like, the labor and delivery unit had like no food, because most women in labor don't want to eat. And here I was like, give me some food. I need some food. I need some food. So they're looking at me like, sorry kid, we have no food to give you. And I'm like, well, that's okay. I have my own food. But if you were going to give me food, hell, I'm paying for it anyway. Give me some food. So there's always a way to stay abstinent, but like was said in the share, a lot of it comes in close contact with my sponsor. Like, I don't make any independent decisions. I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. Like, same Vegas trip, I spilled my coffee that had protein in it, and I'm like, oh, can I drink the rest of this? Do I have to start over? Like, what do I do? And my sponsor, thank God, got back to me and told me what to do. So there's always a way to stay abstinent, and it's so worth it. Like, it's so worth it, because I wake up, and when I haven't eaten the night before, I wake up and I feel like I got a shot. I feel like I have a shot at today being a good day. And is today always a good day? No, it's not. Sometimes today freaking sucks. Bad stuff happens. That's one thing I had to learn over the years. It's just because I'm abstinent doesn't mean that bad stuff isn't going to happen. And I'm trying my best not to cuss right now. Because you know what happens. Really, really sucky, bad stuff happens, And just because I'm abstinent doesn't mean I'm immune from that. It doesn't mean it's all, what do they say, rainbows and butterflies? It's not all rainbows and butterflies at all. Because people are who they are. And today, because I'm not trying to run the show, and that's another thing, in the food behavior is I'm trying to control people, places, and things. And today, I know I can't control people, places, and things. And the step work helps me not try to control people, places, and things. So what happens when people, places, and things behave in a way that I find like just straight up like ridiculous, abhorrent, like what the hell kind of thing. All I do is I show up and I keep my side of the street clean. And sometimes that's hard. Sometimes that's really hard not to tell people about themselves. Or feel like I'm being punished, or feel like things are happening to me and feel like I want to do something about this, like, by golly. So it's sometimes it's really hard, but I know today that I don't run the show. And the truth of the matter is I don't have a desire to run the show anymore, because to run the show requires me to eat. Point blank period. Part of why I ate, I'm very clear, is because I wanted to control things. I wanted to control people. I wanted to control situations. And the fuel for me to do that was for me to eat. Because for me, eating was my way of saying F you to everyone. I'm going to do what I want to do, but I wanted to do it with impunity. And that just is not the case. That's not the reality. I'm not one of those people who gets to eat and walk away scot-free. That's not my story. My story is I eat, and then I feel like I want to kill myself. Then I feel like I want to kill you. Then I feel like, why did I do this again? Then I try and figure out what diet I can do. Then, and it's like my mind never freaking shuts off, because all it's thinking about is that I did it again. And so today, my mind is really quiet. My mind is really, really quiet. I have the capacity to sit and be quiet. I have the capacity to sit with other people and listen and be genuinely interested in what they're saying, not, will they please shut up so I can go like get more food or get different food. Like I'm actually interested. Today I can be with a 2.5-year-old who's being a 2.5-year-old boy and is like the happiest kid. Is like the happiest kid, and and he is still a 2.5 boy who sometimes takes my patience level to the max. And yet and still I interact with him with a sense of gratitude because I realize that he is a blessing. He is a gift of abstinence, and my ability to not thrash him into the wall is a gift of abstinence. This kid tries me, man. This kid, oh my God. But again, being able to see him, let him be who he is, right? He's being exactly who he's supposed to be. And my inability to handle that is mine. That's my thing. That's not his thing. So just letting him, the gift of being able to just love on him and say, hey kid, enough already. Like you're pushing it. And at the same time, lovingly say that. And at the same time, not make him wrong about it. Like, I'm not interested in making anybody wrong about anything, because it was always like, I have to be right. So if I'm right, you're wrong. And like today, I don't really care to be right anymore. I don't care. You like it, I love it. Go for it. You know, like, it may not be for me, and I'm very clear on what's for me and what's not for me. But if that's your thing, that's your jam, go for it. And that's the thing about abstinence. It's like, wow, like I can see situations, or I can see things and say, like, it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like, and still maintain my spine, maintain my boundaries. Like, this is who I am. I'm very clear on who I am. I'm very clear on what works for me, what doesn't work for me. And if it works for you, God bless you. It doesn't work for me. Or if it works for you and it works for me, great. We can all do it together. Or if it works for me but it doesn't work for you, God bless you on your journey. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like all those things are all good. And those are gifts of, again, me not hating myself, me not trying to change other people, and me just being at peace. And this, it's part of the serenity prayer, accepting the things I cannot change, you know, like, and the ability, the wisdom to know the difference, right? So, I don't know. I just say, like, I have seen a lot over my time in the rooms, and I will say that if you can't get it today, keep coming. Because, you know, if you couldn't get it yesterday, I should say, come back today. Today is a new day. Keep coming. And for myself, I got it yesterday. Today is a new day. Keep coming, because there are no guarantees. We could all walk out this room and smell something, see something, hear something, and, you know, and make a decision, right? So I just try and stay in the middle of the herd. That's one of the things about the unity that I so appreciate, is that there may be slight variations, but we all do the same thing with our food. So I try and stay in the middle of the herd of the people who do what we do. When I was first getting abstinent, I stayed on the bridge all day long. I used to get on the bridge at 7 a.m. Eastern time, and I would be on that bridge until, I would then go to work, and then I would come home from work, and I would get on the phone bridge, and I would be on the phone bridge till the 9 p.m. Eastern time meeting. Like, I was always listening to meetings, had my big book on the train with me, like, whatever it took, going to as many meetings as I could. So just encouraging us all to stay in the middle of the herd so that we don't eat, no matter what. Thanks for letting me share.